Alright. My name is KOA John Cena, and I am joined here today by...
RingOut.
Yeah, alright. So tell us a little bit about yourself, RingOut.
Got into fighting game community honestly by mistake. It was kind of just a game I played as a childhood memory. As time progressed, I kind of came across Soulcalibur series back when it was Soulcalibur 4 at the time, and I kind of just got into the game because it reminds me of just the characters. I didn't get into the competitive scene until 2012's EVO. That was actually my first tournament. Unfortunately, when I met the community, I didn't actually formally introduce myself when I did that.
Speak up a little bit.
So basically, I didn't meet the community during EVO 2012, but when I actually got to meet the rest of the people, it wasn't until MLG actually later on that year. That's actually how I kind of got involved in this whole scene in general. Ever since then, I mean, I'm kind of in love with this community. I do what I can to help them out, whether it's, hotel rooms, flights, registrations, prize pools, you name it.
Definitely.
It's in the better interest of the community.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess that answers it. You must, you like the community a lot, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what can I say? They're like my second family. Whereas, a lot of people sometimes say there's drama, there's disagreements among communities and groups. That's normal. It's politics, basically. But in the long run, I feel like when we're at these tournaments, we're all here together. And even as small as our community is, deep down, I think a lot of them have a lot of heart, and it does show. It does show all the time. It really does.
Mm-hmm. Now, who do you play in Soulcalibur 5?
I mean Yoshimitsu.
What drew you to Yoshimitsu?
It actually comes back to the whole childhood memory thing. So when I was a kid, I played Soulcalibur 2 as a child. I always got my ass kicked. Excuse me, I didn't know I was supposed to say that.
That's fine.
But I got my butt kicked a lot in that, and Tekken 3 back then on PlayStation, and then Dreamcast. Mm-hmm. And years later when I found Soulcalibur 4, I saw the character Yoshimitsu, and it kind of just reminded me back to when I played the game. I picked up the character, and to be honest, there's something about him being just uniquely involved with Namco's games like Tekken and whatnot. Kind of drew me to the idea of being able to implement him and use him in really silly ways. I knew nothing about fighting games back then. I just kind of enjoyed the game and had fun with it. And literally, when I discovered how well his ring-out potential was in the game, in 4 especially, ring-out potential for him was ridiculous. It's kind of that's the name back then. That's kind of how that came from there.
Now, you say you really love the community. Now, how easy do you think that they make it for new players to get into the game?
It's definitely improved. I'm not gonna belittle anything that they've done beforehand. All I can say is ever since then, it's just been going, progressively uphill. Especially this year, there's been a lot of work put into trying to promote a lot of new players. We have different Facebook groups. There's a new one called Soulcalibur. It's very, very big in terms of trying to promote players, in terms of watching videos, explanations, tutorials, anything that people would ever ask in terms of general knowledge questions or anything like that. People are at least everybody in that community at least mains one of those characters or has general knowledge about them, and is always more than happy to contribute or share any kind of information to that. So it's definitely progressed in a way that it's definitely picking up, and everybody who does ask any questions if they're new, I think it's pretty safe to say that they pretty much had all their answers answered and are feeling pretty welcome to the community.
All right, really cool stuff. Now, a little bit of talk to you as a representative of Avalon. Now, we're starting up something called the Avalon League. Do you know anything about that?
I do not, actually.
So what it's going to be is it's going to be an online exclusive league where you can, people just duke it out. They set up matches, and they're all recorded into a ranking system.
Okay.
It's an ELO system, and it's so basically that everybody, offline, online, can be a part of the community. It's not going to take into account tournament stuff. Mm-hmm. It's exclusive. It's its own thing. What do you think about that?
It'd actually be it's a creative idea. It reminds me a lot of what we used to do back then. Party Wolf, this player from Florida, is a Zebo main. Yeah. He introduced something called Thunderdomes, and the thing about Thunderdomes was it allowed a lot of people to kind of play on streams. It would basically re-amp the whole competitive scene, not just alone but that, but just the Soulcalibur community to actually being involved more with the community when there was a lot of downtime between tournaments. Any form of events like those that promote people to actually play the game even during the downtime of actual events not happening, I definitely think it's more than good enough to actually contribute to actually encouraging players to keep playing this game. Any promotions like that I definitely think are a good idea.
Mm-hmm. All right, very cool. That's all the questions I have for you. Anything else you want to say?
I mean, shout outs to Avalon. I'm pretty sure people say it all the time, but they work hard as hell. They always have. Ever since I've met them in general, people don't, I'm not saying people don't give them enough credit. They give them plenty of credit. But I feel like people who spend a lot of their time, hard work, late nights, doing all these things to promote these things, it's definitely something it's nice to see. It's great. And not even just the Avalon, just anybody in general who does anything they can to help promote and create bigger crowds. I mean, Soulcalibur is a small game. It always has been. From what I've seen, the more I've been involved in this community, the smaller and smaller our groups tend to be sometimes. And it doesn't mean the game's dead. It just means our community is smaller. But deep down, I think it stands for itself. So I mean, shout outs to all the people who actually do what they can to contribute to that.
There was one last thing.
Yeah.
So after all this talk, at this point, in your life, in your tournament career, what is Soulcalibur to you? What does it mean?
Soulcalibur to me means two things. The one and foremost, it's a promise. It's a promise to a friend of mine, to be honest. He's not with us here anymore, but beforehand, anything, I promised that basically at the end, I would probably, I would do my best to make it the top 3, whether it's a major, regular tournament, you name it. And unfortunately, he's not here with us anymore. And I haven't given up on that promise. But the one thing he promised me and told me is that this community is great, back when I played for. And because of that, that's why I'm here. It's not about the prize pools, it's not about being number 1, it never has been. It's literally just about this community and what he told me about him. So to me, honestly, Soulcalibur is about, just family, and it always has been.
It's really solid here. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, no problem.